Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today, what I think is going to be a really exciting video, and I've been waiting for literally years to do this. Finally got the time to do it. So, we're doing a series of which weapons to use against which targets, or another way of putting that is how much damage do certain weapons do to certain targets. We've already done bombs and splash damage, we've already looked at guns, we've got two videos of guns, different type of gun ammo and different calibers, how they damage different vehicles. Now we're doing the same thing for the rockets. First things first, we had to define the experiment. Now, we looked into DCS and the rockets we've got, and it immediately became problematic because we've got so many rockets in DCS and rocket types and warhead types and subtypes. It became almost impossible because this would be hours and hours and hours of testing and it wouldn't really serve a purpose. So what we've done is we've simplified as logically as we can. What we've done is we've taken the American Cold War Hydra series of rockets because they are the most commonly used in DCS. They are all 2.75 inch diameter. They're not identical, but they are derived from the same rocket. The reason I say these are the most used, these are the things that you'll fire from a Huey, a helicopter, F5 Tiger, light fighter, an F-16, an F-18, an F-14 Tomcat, the vast majority of the modules that are out there. So it seems prudent to do these. And because they are all based on the same rocket type, then there's going to be comparable. Whereas if we just chuck in a Russian type of a different caliber, it's not really going to make much sense. So the warhead types for the Hydra-based 2.75 inch rocket: high explosive Mark 151 warhead. You got the high explosive Mark 5, you got the high explosive anti-tank Mark 5. Now, this is how it's written in DCS. Some aircraft use a HE Mark 5, some use a HE-AT Mark 5. We think they are actually the same warhead in real life. We think that there is just a spelling mistake in DCS. However, we're not sure, so we're going to test them separately. So in the F-18, for instance, it's called a HE Mark 5. In the F-16, it's called a HE Anti-Tank Mark 5. And we'll just treat them as different for now. These guys are using the Mark 66 rocket, we believe. Then we've got the guided types, which are again based on the same rocket, but these are guided, so we're going to see the difference we get with APKWS, high explosive, and MPP, multi-purpose penetrator. And then just for fun, because we all want to see the bigger rockets, don't we? Let's try a 5-inch Zuni. I know there are bigger ones. There are bunker-busting rockets that the Russians have, but they're not really designed for this type of thing. They're designed for, attacking structures. This is probably the biggest rocket you're actually going to fire at a ground vehicle, which is what we're looking at today. So we will test those types of rocket against Humvee, M113, Bradley, and Leclerc. What that's representing in the way that armor seems to work in DCS is no armor. Humvee is essentially non-armoured as far as we can determine. Light armour, the M113 APC armour. The Bradley is an IFV, it's the next stage up, that's medium armour. And then we've got the heavy armour of a main battle tank. Now, if you've used these rockets, you've probably noticed that they're very hard to kill things with because you have to be very accurate with them if you're fighting against armour. And in fact, while we're on the topic, why don't we actually add some infantry in? The rocket, as you'll see, will be hitting exactly in the same place every time, so we can compare these different rockets empirically. And that will be the center mass of center vehicle, which is currently set up as the Humvees. We are then spread 25 feet, 50 feet, and 100 feet, 25 feet and 50 feet, and these have been told not to move when they get hit. So we can also determine, as well as the single vehicle damage and the penetration damage, we can look at the splash damage, which is going to be just as important for high explosive. And I've just added in, while talking, infantry. So I've got infantry at 0 feet, 12.5 feet, 25 feet. I can't do the maths, but every 12.5 feet. Okay, so we've got that. Then once the light armor's done, we'll replace them for the medium, the light, the medium, and the heavy armor. Welcome to the test, valued viewers. We're going to start with an F-16C firing the 2.75 inch Mark rocket with a Mark 151 high explosive warhead. Stand by. Ouch. Oh, I can see the shockwave going out. So what we're looking for is the immediate damage before the units start to cook off with each other. Now, that's done a surprisingly little amount of damage. Oh, no, I take that back. The infantry animations haven't kicked in, so that's why they haven't fallen over. It's killed the guy in the middle that it's hit. Great news. It's done 40% damage, shall we say, to the guy 25 feet that side. Interestingly, no damage on the one that's 25 feet this side. Why is that? Maybe there's a randomizer in that. I don't know. We'll just have to see how the tests go. Humans, it's killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you count that, guys. Next, an F-18C firing a 2.75 inch high explosive non-AT Mark V warhead. And it should hit, if I've done my calculations right, in exactly the same place, which was surprisingly difficult. So, AG on, select the rocket. That is going to go boom boom. Right on that guy's nuts. What have we got? Just let that propagate. Men are falling. And stop. So, we've got damage from that of that, interestingly, less splash damage on the armor. Again, maybe a randomizer, maybe something else, don't know. This guy in the middle there, no other splash damage to armor for the HE Mark V. In terms of infantry, pretty much identical to last time, and that's it. Next warhead, F-16 with a HE-80 Mark V, which may not be the same as the one we've just fired. No one seems to know the answer to that. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Boom! Zap, 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 zap. That propagate. I think that's what we're doing. Ooh, we've got slightly different. Now that's interesting. It definitely hit that tank, didn't it? You know, the vehicle. Yet it didn't kill it. Did anyone notice anything why that it was different that time? But it didn't. It only did 60% damage to this for reasons I don't understand, which is annoying because this is supposed to be high explosive anti-tank. I would have thought it would be more powerful, but I don't know. Well, you know, that's what the experiment showed anyway. And we had more infantry damage. Again, could be a randomizer, could be something else. There's no way we'll ever know. But the viewers are saying maybe it hit the infantry. Why don't we run that again in super slow-mo and see if maybe it hit the infantryman, which would have changed the damage done to the vehicle. In fact, to absolutely make sure, why don't we move that infantryman away? He's obviously going to die. We know he's going to die with everything that's fired today. So let's just not even have him there. And let's run that again. It will technically explode slightly before the vehicle, but that's just how the game kind of renders it, so don't worry too much about that. You see, it kind of explodes about 10 feet before the vehicle, and yeah, I don't know why, but it just seems to be how the game makes it look. Where are we going? Boom. It appears to have not killed the vehicle, so it appears to be accurate. The HEAT is not killing the vehicle. Now, don't throw your toys out the pram and say, yeah, it's no good. Like when we did the bullet test, we found that... Oh, it has killed it anyway. We found that sometimes warheads don't work as you think they should do. So sometimes an armor-piercing bullet won't do as much damage as a training bullet because it pierces so well it just blows through, if that kind of makes sense. Anyway, that is... it killed it this time. It probably was the problem. We were probably hitting the infantry. It was just a bit of bad luck last time, and the infantry looks a lot better. Okay, valued viewers, we're now using APKWS variant, the guided variant. Now, don't worry about the distance. The distance won't make any difference in terms of how this warhead, you know, reacts, because it will hit pretty much in exactly the same place. So, fire the laser, fire the rocket. Watch this. It's not spinning. I thought this rocket was meant to spin. Oh, it is, just very slowly. Everyone wants 1 in 32 speed for the big boom. Look at that! Exactly in the B pillar. Such a cool experiment! I could sit and watch these explosions all day. Yes, I'm a sadist. And I'm going to predict it's going to do exactly the same damage basically as everything's done so far, because they all seem to be about the same warhead so far. And no, it's done a little bit different. It's killed the middle guy. Again, this guy's been biased to about 40% damage. That's interesting. So it's done, interestingly, exactly the same amount of damage as, and this gets rid of the randomizer theory, as the HE 151, which actually I think is what this warhead is, but with the guidance thing on the front. It all seems to be making sense so far. Now this one's going to change. We're going to go for a multi-purpose penetrator here. Ooh. And chugga 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 chugga. Everyone wants to see 1 in 32 explosion. And if you don't, then you're just lying to yourself. Boom! Look at that, guys. It's like when you were a kid making things shoot each other but having to do it all in your mind. Well, now, essentially, because we are just kids, we can do it. Slow motion explosion on demand. And the crowd goes wild! Yes, yes! Look, it did just what I thought. It killed the guy in the middle, obviously. It didn't damage the others, as I thought, because it's not a HE. And because it's not a HE, it hardly damaged any humans. I mean, some are going to, you know, get killed by the blast, but Not many are damaged, at least so far. In fact, bearing in mind that only 2 actually got hit. Kudos, everything seems to be good. Now the last one we're going to do with this setup is the Zuni, and that's purely for fun. It's not really comparative because it's a different size. It's twice the diameter and many times the weight of a Hydra-based rocket. Boom, big heavy rocket. Look at the size of that mud thumper. That is going to make everything die. Boom! Oh, the camera's rocking. Look at that. Zap, 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 zap. They're all dead. Oh, I should say the Zuni, it doesn't have a warhead type in DCS, so it's assumed to be generic HE, but they don't seem to specify a warhead type anywhere. Program 22 kilos of high explosive compared to like 4 is the biggest for the Hydra, I think it was. So, you know, we're talking a thumping great warhead. Damage done. Okay, well, there you go. The guy in the middle destroyed. This guy, 60% destroyed this time. Interestingly, the guy behind doesn't get destroyed, and I don't know why that is. Now, if you're going to say this guy here protects that guy here, we've proved that's not true. HE isn't restricted in any way in DCS. It goes through things. We've proved that various times. So why is this guy not getting hit when this guy... I know the answer. Right, because they're all pointing upwards. So this guy's getting hit in front armor, this guy's getting hit in rear armor, and that's why this guy is getting hit and this guy isn't. How interesting. Right, anyway, that guy and infantry is basically obviously the most damaged so far. I'm actually a little bit disappointed, and there's 22 kilos of explosive. Guys on the stream, do you think 22 more kilos of explosive would do more damage to Humvees, or have I don't know. It just seems like a really big bang. Anyway, that's that done. Let's go to light armor. We have simplified the experiment now. Now we know that with the zero armor, the Humvees, nothing else was damaged apart from that and that. Therefore, we can deduce that nothing is now going to get damaged as we go up the armor scale. From that and that, we don't need the civilians in. We don't need the infantry in at the moment. And this method of working has worked perfectly during the other tests we've done. So we're safe to exclude anything else from now on, guys. So I am going to go master arm on. I'm going to go to air to ground. We're 2.75 inch Mark 151 HE standby. I must admit, it doesn't look quite as sexy without all that stuff there, but science is science, boys. Thump! I should point out, obviously, we're going on side armor here. You know, otherwise I would have to test them all front, side, rear, and top armor, because they all have different amounts of armor, as we've proved before. That's just too much work for me. So I'm going on side, taking that as being the average amount of armor for the vehicle. Okay, I mean, this is fine. This is literally what we're testing here. Mark 151, high explosive. Has anyone got a kilo? Has anyone got the chemical composition and the warhead size for this? Because it's done 0 damage, a side aspect on a 131. And that is exactly the kind of thing that I actually find when out in the field using these 151s. They just don't kill anything. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure you're finding exactly the same thing too. They look great. There's all this smoke and explosion of fire, but nothing actually dies. And again, this is only light armor, and I'm being told that it's 1 kilo of composition B4, and it is anti-personnel. It's HE Mark 5, 2.75 inch. I don't know what it's going to do. I guess we'll see. Thump. It's definitely hitting the vehicle. The propagate. Okay, that, guys, was the Mark 5, and we've killed it. So we're pretty sure from that that is the high explosive anti-tank. Then they've just done some syntax on in the game for the Hornet, where it's called just the HE Mark 5 and the Huey. So we've already proved that there is a vast difference between the armor killing power of a HE and a HE-AT, and that they do need to go back in those other modules and rename them, and I will write a report up for that. F-16 2.75 inch high explosive anti-tank Mark 5. We're pretty sure by now it's the same as the other one that we've just done, but exactly the same effect. Yep, they're the same rocket. They're just named differently. Great. Next, APKWS HE, and I'm pretty sure by now this is going to be a Mark 151 warhead. It doesn't actually say on it, but I don't think it says on it, but I think this is going to be anti-personnel. So I'm expecting possibly no damage if I've got this right, which I probably haven't. And that propagate. Yeah, no damage. So that is the Claymore style anti-personnel and 0 damage. Great. Multi-purpose penetrator, stand by. Boosh. Zap, 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 zap. Propagate. Just reading, APKWS uses existing Hydra 70 warheads where possible, M51 for the HE and the M288 for the MPP, I think. One destroyed and the other one not destroyed. Pretty simple. And for fun, let's get the Zuni. In real life, the Zuni is modelled with multiple warheads. In DCS, it appears to be simplified with a general purpose warhead. That just seems to be the way it works from what we can tell. Fire. Got him! Zap, 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 zap. Propagate. And so with the Zuni, we killed that guy and didn't kill that at all, which is actually surprising. Again, 22 kilos of, you know, it goes back to the splash damage not being quite right. 22 kilos. I don't know. I just don't know enough about this, but that's what it is. Next, let's move to IFV, medium armor. We've only got 3 warheads to try in this case. We've got the high explosive anti-tank Mark V rocket, the Zuni rocket, and the multi-purpose penetrator. So let's go with the Mark V. Boosh! We've got damage. We've got damage. Almost killed it. I mean, that's essentially actually a non-movable tank. It's out of action, but 80% damage with the high explosive anti-tank Mark V. MPP, center mass. I'm going to guess it's going to be the same as the Mark V in terms of damage. Center mass, same place. Boosh, 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 boosh. And, ooh, we've killed him. So there is a difference. There's a definite difference between the MPP in terms of single target damage, no splash damage, but single target damage, and the Mark V. It's just more damage. But I think it's got the same armor penetration characteristics, just from what I'm looking at here. But there's more explosive, or you know, whatever. For some reason, it does more damage. Right, Zuni. Is a Zuni going to hurt a IFE? I would imagine so, due to pure power. Get some, baby. You're going to go boom, boom. Cha, look at that. Yeah, destroyed. Just pure power there, guys. Again, annoyingly, not much splash damage, but just it rips it to pieces. So, right, main battle tank. And then we're done. Okay, main battle tank, Mark V anti-tank rocket. Honestly, I haven't got a clue. Personally, I don't think it's got the penetrating power, but I'm usually wrong. Fire! Again, we're looking at the side armor here. Is what we're going to call, you know, the average armor of the tank, all in. Oh, we got some damage. Mark V got some damage. It did 10% damage. APKWS MPP. Center mass of the hull. You know, it's the most likely place you're realistically going to hit the tank, even with a guided wep. And thump, mid-hull, boom, boom. Oh, no damage. No damage! APKWS MPP, no damage. Yep. I've gone back and reviewed the footage. It was definitely an MPP we shot. Let's do it again with 2. Trying firing a pair and see what we get. I'm expecting one can damage the armor and the other will go in and actually do the damage. Here they come. In they come. Boom! And the other one. Boom! Thump! Ah. No damage at all. And finally, valid viewers, the reason why most of you clicked on this video, we've got a Zuni 5-inch versus the side of a tank fire. Place your bets now, please. That's a lot of explosive against the side of something. And just general purpose high explosive will penetrate armor if it's right up, you know, right up against side of it. And we've got, a Zuni on a main battle tank. How about that? 50% damage. I did not think that. 50% damage. And for the data, rockets here. So 2.75 inches and the 5-inch here. So with the 2.75-inch high explosive Mark 151 anti-personnel has a kill radius of infantry of 62 feet plus or minus 12.5 feet. To unarmoured vehicles, i.e. the Humvee, it is lethal, and we can only really measure exactly what we've tested, which is that it is lethal to an unarmoured vehicle at less than 25 feet from that vehicle. Realistically speaking, there has to be a direct hit to kill it, but the nearest other vehicle we had was 25 feet. So that's what that means, and then after that we had 0 damage, as we would expect, because this has no armour penetrating power. Next, the Mark V HE and high explosive anti-tank, we decided essentially were the same rocket in the end, although they're just named differently. In DCS, we have 62 feet again for the anti-personnel kill radius, and we thought this might be polluted by the fact that the vehicle exploding could kill these guys, but after some testing it was not that. This was the rocket damage that was done, not the vehicle exploding secondary. Unarmoured, direct hit less than 25 feet. Again, there's one thing that's showing from this, how much of a direct hit you've got to get to actually take something out. Light armour and APC for both of these will kill it within 25 feet. Basically a direct hit again, pretty much. Medium, with a direct hit, it will do 80% damage, which is a kill, but I thought I'd put that. It didn't quite actually kill it. And for a main battle tank side armour, we're going 10% damage, so it's just scraping the surface. Next, APK, WS, HE, and MPP. These are slightly different from the other variants up here. HE, 62 feet, because it's a 151 warhead, we think are very similar. Unarmoured, it will take out an unarmed vehicle with a direct hit. Light, medium, and armour, and heavy armour, it will have no effect at all. The APKWS MPP has a much smaller kill radius for personnel, for whatever reasons. You tell me why, I don't know. For unarmoured vehicles, a direct hit will kill it. For an APC, a direct hit will kill it. For a IFV, a direct hit will kill it, which is interesting because with the HE, which tends to be more powerful, the HEAT, sorry, you only got 80% damage. So there's a slight difference in this guy here and this guy here, the damage they do and the amount of armor they can penetrate, as you can see. We've got the 5-inch Zuni, which is really shown its worth here in some respects, at least. In the kill radius for humans is 75 feet, which is cool. The unarmored kill radius of unarmored vehicles has gone up to under 50 feet. So it killed the guy at 25 feet in the cold aspect, did not kill the guy in 25 feet on the hot aspect. So on cold aspect, at least, it will take a guy out at over 25 feet. But not up to and including 50 feet. Light armor, direct hit, it will take it out completely. Medium armor, IFV, direct hit, it will take it out completely. Along with only the HEAT Mark V, it will damage a tank, but instead of doing 10% damage like the Mark V, it does 50% damage, and that's presumably simply because, if you, like we said, if you get enough high explosive and you explode it right next to the side of armor, you can do some damage, so that's why. So that is the different types of rocket warheads in DCS 2021. It all looks about right to me. I don't see any anomalies. For me, it reinforces really what I found, and that is using rockets and assuming that you're not firing at infantry, then you've really got to be accurate. So spraying and praying against even but also light, medium and heavy armor is really no good. You've got to get your rockets within kind of 25 feet, which is essentially a vehicle's length. So essentially you've got to be hitting vehicles to actually take them out with rockets. So that's something that that really needs drumming in at this point, at least in DCS at the moment. Let me know your thoughts. I hope that was useful, and see you later.